Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating journey. We're going to start at the absolute microscopic level and scale all the way up to these massive global impacts on human health, agriculture, and our environment. We are talking about biosensors. This is that invisible technology silently working behind the scenes, rapidly analyzing biological and chemical samples, and, quite literally, saving lives every single day.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, what is a biosensor? 2, how do they work? 3, the different types of biosensors. 4, real-world applications. 5, the challenges and innovations. And finally, 6, the future of this tech. Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1. What exactly is a biosensor? Let's cover the fundamentals.
At its core, a biosensor is an analytical device that combines biological components with electronic systems to detect and measure specific substances. Now, I want you to really focus on that connection for a second. It's essentially the ultimate bridge between biology and electronics. You're taking something entirely organic and pairing it with a machine to give us rapid, real-time detection capabilities.
And here is the crucial point. Every single biosensor out there, no matter how incredibly advanced it is, boils down to a basic three-part formula. First, you have the bioreceptor. This is the biological element, like an enzyme, an antibody, or maybe a DNA probe that actually recognizes the target substance. Second, you have the transducer, which converts that biological reaction into a signal. And third, the signal processor. That part amplifies the signal and displays the result so we can actually read it. So, bioreceptor plus transducer plus signal processor equals a biosensor.
Moving right along to Section 2, how do biosensors actually work? Let's break down the mechanics.
To understand the mechanics, we really have to look at the relationship between those first two components we just talked about. The bioreceptor is essentially doing all the identifying. It uses enzymes, DNA, or even whole cells to lock onto a very specific target analyte. But here's the catch. Biology doesn't naturally speak the language of electronics, right? And that is where the transducer comes in. Think of the transducer as a translator. It takes that biological interaction and translates it into an electrical, optical, thermal, or even mechanical signal that a machine can actually understand.
So when we put it all together in motion, it plays out in this perfect 4-step microscopic journey. Step 1 is recognition. The target analyte binds specifically to the bioreceptor. Step 2 is interaction. A biochemical reaction actually occurs between the analyte and that biological element. Then Step 3 is signal conversion. Our trusty translator, the transducer, converts that chemical reaction into a measurable signal. And finally, Step 4, data processing. The signal processor amplifies that tiny little signal and displays it as a readable, user-friendly result.
Okay, Section 3, types of biosensors. Let's look at some technological variants.
So, different types of biosensors measure different things. You've got electrochemical biosensors that measure electrical signals, which are super common for glucose monitoring. Optical sensors detect changes in light properties, making them perfect for DNA and pathogen detection. Thermal sensors measure the actual heat generated during a reaction. Nanobiosensors use nanomaterials for ultra-sensitive diagnostics. But, okay, look at the piezoelectric one. This is absolutely amazing. Piezoelectric biosensors literally measure tiny changes in mass or mechanical vibrations on the sensor surface. We use them to detect microscopic microbes like bacteria and viruses. How cool is that?
Which brings us to Section 4, real-world applications. Why does all this matter?
Well, the footprint of this technology in the real world is absolutely massive. In medical diagnostics, they're used for everything, from everyday pregnancy tests to cancer biomarker detection. In environmental monitoring, we use them to analyze water quality and detect heavy metals. The food industry relies heavily on them to catch foodborne pathogens and pesticide residues before they reach your plate. In agriculture, they're monitoring soil nutrients and plant diseases. And of course, they are foundational in biotechnology and drug research. The high sensitivity of these devices just makes them indispensable across all these fields.
Let's ground this in a highly relatable daily reality. If you or someone you know has diabetes, you are already intimately familiar with this tech. Electrochemical biosensors are the exact technology inside the portable glucose meters used by millions of diabetic patients worldwide. A tiny drop of blood interacts with an enzyme on a test strip, a transducer converts that chemical reaction into an electrical current, and boom, the screen displays the blood sugar level. It's a perfect, everyday, life-saving application of this invisible technology.
Section 5, challenges and innovations. Because, as we know, no technology is entirely without its hurdles. The biggest limitation we face right now comes down to the biology itself. Biological components, like enzymes or cells, they aren't perfectly stable. They're highly sensitive to environmental conditions like temperature and pH levels. This means they have a limited lifespan and require really specific conditions to survive and actually function outside of a lab. So this environmental sensitivity, combined with strict calibration requirements and the potential for signal interference, well, it presents a real challenge for widespread long-term use.
But fortunately, advanced biotechnology is stepping up to provide some crucial upgrades here. Genetic engineering is being used to improve biological recognition elements for even greater specificity. Protein engineering is tackling our stability problem by developing much more robust, stable enzymes and antibodies. Then you have nanotechnology, which is drastically enhancing signal detection and overall sensor performance. And synthetic biology is literally allowing us to create entirely engineered biological systems tailored specifically for advanced sensing. It's a total game changer.
And finally, Section 6, the future of biosensors. What is next on the horizon?
We are moving far, far beyond simple test strips. The immediate future is absolutely dominated by wearable biosensors that offer continuous monitoring. And we aren't just talking about devices that measure your heart rate. We're talking about sensors that actually analyze sweat biomarkers in real time. We're also seeing the rapid rise of lab-on-a-chip devices. These are entire miniaturized laboratory systems capable of performing multiple complex analyses simultaneously. And perhaps most powerfully, we are seeing AI-integrated biosensors, combining artificial intelligence with biosensing to provide predictive analysis and massively improve diagnostics.
But the next massive leap? It isn't just wearing a sensor on your wrist. It's implantable biosensors. We're looking at an era of deeply personalized healthcare monitoring, where ultra-sensitive nanobiosensors are placed directly inside the human body. They will be there to monitor our biochemistry continuously, silently, and accurately. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Biosensors have already totally revolutionized how we detect disease, monitor our environment, and protect our food supply. But as we achieve this ultimate integration of technology and human biology, when our bodies can continuously stream chemical and biological data to our doctors in real time, what will the future of human health actually look like? It is a fascinating question and one we are going to see answered very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.